Hey, it's Hayden Partain, and this is State of the Republic podcast.
Welcome, fans of the beautiful sport in Sacramento, to the State of the Republic podcast. My name is Luis, and today I'm joined by my two usual co-hosts, Michael and Sharon. How's it going? Let's first go to Michael since he's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, man, that's a common theme. I'm trying my best. Just life has been insane. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, especially now that the vaccine is out. Go get yourself vaccinated if you haven't yet.
Your vaccinations.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Get that appointment set up because game day is almost here. First friendly, 24th April. So
Yes.
almost. We're counting down the days. It's almost Saturday. How about you, Sharon? How's it going?
Hey, I'm all good. I'm just looking forward to speaking with our guest today. Really exciting to have him back, and he's a friend of mine, and so is his wife, and I can't wait to meet the dog, that sort of stuff. So looking forward.
Awesome. Well, Michael, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Yeah, most definitely. Typically see him patrolling the midfield there. Our guest tonight from Wake Forest, Hayden Partain. Hayden, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good to hear. So we'll get straight into it, Hayden. From college with the Demon Deacons to playing with the premier developmental side Charlotte Eagles, a little bit of time in Des Moines with the Menace. How'd you end up in Sacramento, man?
It's a funny story. So I went to Des Moines because I was on a bunch of USL trials actually that year, 2017, and I didn't end up signing a contract. But I played in Des Moines with John Pasquarella, who's now the OKC coach, and I was doing really well. I was kind of like hot at the moment, and funny enough, Danny Barrera got injured, and this is the way football works. Timing kind of works, right? So timing's everything. I was playing well. We're similar types of players. I would say he's a little more attacking minded, but he got hurt. I was playing well. There was a connection, I guess, between GMs and coaches, and I basically bought a one-way flight on trial to go to play for Sac Republic, and I played well in Paul Buckle's eye, and then I signed, and then I was there for 3 seasons. So that's kind of how it happened. But I was just doing my daily thing, and you never know who's watching. That's just kind of how my opportunity came.
That's very interesting. You mentioned about the one-way ticket because I vaguely remember that time with you and, trying to tuck you into a lodging situation. I totally remember that because it took a while for all the things that you needed to catch up to you when you hit the ground here, things like, your paycheck and all that other stuff. So that was a very interesting time. So of the people that you played with, of all the players that, you've played with Sacramento, which guys kind of made things most memorable or, stood out for you? Which guys were those?
Oh, wow. How many am I allowed to say? Is there like 10, like 20?
Yeah. Well, and somebody
Okay.
who made it really special for you, but you can't count Maddie because we know she made it super special.
Oh, of course. I was gonna refer to players, but
yeah.
I mean, Sharon, you made it special, that's for sure. Coming over to your house and you feeding us. But no, I would say the first person for sure, and the guy that I moved into was Jeremy Hall. That guy is wise beyond his years, and he kind of took me under his wing, and being a somewhat similar player, but playing in the midfield together. He led by example. He's not a very, outspoken person, but, you can just kind of, his demeanor and his attitude is very infectious. So I would say he really influenced me a lot as a player and just as a person. And then I would say Adam Moffett. He's another person much like Jeremy in that sense. We had a lot of really in-depth conversations about how football life and everything functions in your life, because there's a lot of things that, growing up, you really don't know about or learn about until you're kind of in the thick of things, So those are the two people that I would say I really learned a lot from and looked up to. But, people like Wilson Nishaw, Villian, Tyler Blackwood, many people that are still there. Dodek Formella, one of the funniest guys I've ever met. Mitch Tainter. We ended up following each other to Texas. There's many players. I could go down the list forever. Jordan McCreary. There's many of them that aren't there anymore, and many of them that are there. But everyone at SAC, and the way that they've run the front office is just community oriented. And I had a bunch of great relationships, and I still talk to everyone. Really, I talked to Cam Owasso the other day, and he was telling me he's watching golf and doing all these things, and I'm asking how preseason's going because I'm definitely following the team. It looks like the team has a great roster, and I'm excited to see what Briggsy does for the club. So I would say those people.
That's awesome. Jeremy Hall had a fond spot in his heart for you as well. He remembers the day and he spoke about it with us. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that, to be honest, because he holds his cards close to his body.
No, he spoke about you.
That's fun.
Now you mentioned here our very own podcast mom. I'm really glad that she still made you feel that way, and I'm so excited that we're gonna go back to normal times, Sharon, so you can actually get to meet the new players and they get to know you as well, and we get to hear more of these stories in future interviews. So hopefully. So actually, on that note, speaking of stories, can you tell us maybe your most memorable moment or like game or maybe like a road trip that you attended, going to an away game, or even all the above if you have multiple moments that kind of you always remember of your career?
Yeah. There's 2 or 3 moments that I can think of. My first one was for sure my debut. I got subbed in against Whitecaps too when they were still in the league. And I remember my very first touch, I got subbed on, and on that throw in, I believe it was Peter McGlynn or Elliot Horde, one of the two. They were playing outside back. They threw the ball into me, and I took one touch, and then I hit a bent ball in behind for Tyler Blackwood, and then he crossed and we almost scored off of it. And I was like, wow, I can't even hear myself think, and that just happened, and it was my debut. So there's so much adrenaline in your body. I'll never forget that moment and that actual pass, right? Like what I did, it was so simple, but it was so impactful on a first step in my career and in my life. So that's one big moment for me. I'd say another big moment for me was when we were playing Portland 2, my last season with the club. It was 2019. I was really fighting in and out of the team with Simon Elliott. I wasn't playing much, and I finally got my opportunity to start, and we ended up winning 1-0 that game, and I scored the winner. And the goal that I scored, it came off of what's his name? He plays left back, Hispanic. I think he's Hispanic or he's Honduran. He plays with y'all now.
Was it Juan Barahona?
Yeah. Juan Barahona. Yeah, Juan Barahona crosses a ball. It goes through traffic. Villian barely misses it, and I chest it and then side volleyed in. And that for me, I go to the corner and pray. That was a big moment for me because I had the work I had been putting in and day out to get an opportunity. It kind of finally came to fruition on the pitch, right? And I wouldn't say I'm a goal scorer, but that moment, kind of got to show it, outwardly to other people, right? Because my game is very simple. I'm a connector, and I do a bunch of things that are more so nuances that help the team, right? So that moment for me was very big, and I was emotional when it happened because I was just going through a lot at that time. And then I would say the third thing was when Dodek scored, and it was when his dad had passed away. I remember I was making breakfast that morning, and he was crying, and I'm a very observant person, and he had been crying. He wasn't crying. And I knew something was up. So I went into his room and checked on him, and he told me not to tell anyone because he was starting that day and he wanted to focus on the game. And so I respected that, even though it was really hard. One, to not tell my wife, one, to not tell my other roommate, who was Haris Hansopoulos at the time, who was playing as well. So I was sitting on the bench that game, and I wanted him to perform, and he told me what he wanted, and I respected that. So I didn't tell anyone. And then for him to score like that and it all unfold, and you see him tell my other roommate, Harris, in the celebration and stuff, and you see Harris's face, and I was crying on the bench. Like, I couldn't have wanted something more special for someone that was going through that. So it was such a tragedy, right? He didn't know if he could go home or if he needed to stay. Like, it was just a real big mess. But Dadek made something so, tragic, something so beautiful. And he's a very tough guy. And I'll never forget that moment. I mean, it went like viral on the internet, rightfully so, which I was really happy about, because that sums up football. It's not just a game, it's more than that. And that moment kind of showed that.
Yeah, most definitely. That was kind of a surreal moment. I remember watching that, being shocked when we got the news ourselves. Now, Hayden, I'd say you had a pretty successful stint with the Republic. Over 50 games with the Republic. You did score 5 goals from the midfield, so can't say you're not a goal scorer. You put 5 in the back of the net, my friend. And then, of course, you had your opportunity to go back to Texas, back home. I'm sure that was great as well. But can you tell us some of the differences, whether negative or positive, between the two sides, playing for Republic, playing back in San Antonio?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, the playing style was different, that's for sure. At SAC, we were a little bit more possession based. There's a bit more freedom as a player individually to express yourself. There was a big sense of community, like I said earlier, in one of my previous answers to the question. But I think just the environment was the biggest thing. Like, when I played at a home game at Sac Republic, there was an extra edge to me. I wasn't just playing for myself. Like, when I wore that badge, like, there was pride behind it. Even though I'm not from Sacramento or anything, just the sense that you get because of the whole atmosphere environment, you like feel that's, the weight on your shoulders. Like, you have to represent that. So that's a big thing. I didn't feel that too much at San Antonio, and it could be just because there's not as many fans, or I wasn't there as long. I couldn't put my finger on that. But I would say at San Antonio, we had a true system that I feel like was very black and white, and it was something that I was bought into as a player. It was a big reason why I went to San Antonio, other than it being in Texas. So that made it easier to know you knew exactly what the coach wanted. When I was with the Republic, from game to game, week to week, that kind of changed, and although I'm an adaptable person, adaptable player, you have to be if you're a professional, or you just won't find yourself playing. I felt that at San Antonio, I knew what my job was exactly, and it didn't really change. So I would say that was one big difference. But then again, I didn't get to play for, Mark Briggs. I know I've played against him many times when he was at Monarchs, and he has a system that, is pretty finite, and exactly what he wants, and he's very strict on that, which is good. I as a player, I like that, because I'm not questioning things or trying to think about, where do I fit in here when we change it to this, or we change the formation, or we change the personnel. So that was one thing that I would say was different. But that, like I said, or timing is everything with football. With it, one coach, you could experience that. With another coach, you might not experience that. So I wouldn't tag that, to the Republic. Definitely. But from my experience in my time being there, that was kind of the differences that I could see.
That's interesting. So you went through the buckle to Simon Elliott change too. You lived through that coaching change, which was for a lot of players, that was a very different thing. And speaking of coaching, you endeavored into private training, and you've always done that ever since I've known you. You've always done private trainings, a lot of it. And so I'm wondering how that's going, if you're still doing that, and we're going to get to the new profession here in a minute, but the private, the private training coaching. And would you ever take a youth team? I mean, like a competitive or an academy youth team? Would you ever take that on?
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't turn it down, if I could say that. I think that at the moment where I am with my life right now, I participated in the MLS USL C course license that they offered active pro. So I took that. I've completed that. There's one other assignment that's like a follow-up assignment. I've gone through the final examination and passed all that part. So I have one more assignment to submit, and then I'll have the actual credential, but I have completed that. So that I'm definitely looking in that direction. Now, as being a youth coach or a team coach, I can't say that I'm sold just on that, right? Like I would love to be a professional coach. I would love to be a college coach, but having been a player that hasn't got much of a personal life because, you're working on weekends, you travel, you work in the mornings and you come home and, your spouse or significant other might not be there when you're there. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what capacity and role do I want to be in with football. If it's a team, if it's my own private training business, whatever it may be, I think I haven't put my finger on it exactly. So I'm being very particular about all the different aspects or externalities, if you will, in choosing that before, because whatever I choose, I'm a loyal and I'm a loyal and gritty person. So whatever I choose, I'm going to stick with, right? And I'm going to be the best at that. So I'm trying to be particular with that before I make that decision, because it's still pretty early on after choosing to retire, right? So
yeah. Well, keep us posted, because we would love to elevate whatever it is that you decide to do with soccer. And we'll also try to elevate, I think with this next question, we would love to elevate you, period, because we all love you and adore you, and we miss you.
Yeah, I miss y'all too. I would like to come and watch a game this season. We'll see. Maybe the San Antonio Sac Republic game. I'm talking to Mitch daily, so
we got to get you out there. Got to get you out there.
So, of course, we know you recently announced your retirement from soccer, but we want to hear more about what's going on now. Like, tell us a little bit more about what new profession you've taken on.
Yeah, so right now I'm an agent for New York Life. So I'm working in financial services and insurance, and I kind of got introduced to it during the quarantine when we weren't doing much. I'm a person that always wants to be better in many different ways. So I kind of came across it, studied for a licensing test, and I got that. I just couldn't help but do something other than Zoom workouts. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door, I guess. And it struck a interest in me other than football, which there hasn't been many things other than my wife that I've been interested in aside from football. So I was like, wow, that's kind of weird, but okay, I'll follow it. And then I ended up tearing my calf last season, and I was fighting with an injury. And same at SAC. I had 2 knee surgeries at SAC and many ankle sprains. So it's not anything out of the norm for what I experienced in my career. But, it came a time I was getting offers across the table, and they just weren't looking the way I wanted them to. And especially with COVID affecting that as well, not just my personal stock as a player. And so I was just like, going back to what I was saying, like thinking about my personal life and what I value. COVID kind of has put everything in perspective for a lot of people, I think. And that was a big one for me, and thinking what's important to me in my life now. And I didn't feel that me going and playing a game and feeling like I was underpaid and not taken care of maybe financially, it was worth my time to then not put my family in a situation that I felt I could put them in. So that's kind of like how I came to the decision of doing that. And I haven't looked back. I've enjoyed it. I get to help people, and everyone I help is involved with soccer in some sort of capacity. So it's just being in a different role around the game now.
That's awesome. That's really cool. It's always nice to find something else outside of the sport, because that could be really difficult for some players to be able to quote unquote let go and find that other passion. So good for you, man. Now, obviously, there's a big basketball game on right now. They're playing. We do appreciate you, Texas' very own, taking some time out to talk to us. But speaking NCAA sports, you had a pretty good collegiate career there, my friend, with Wake Forest, including a substitution appearance against Stanford in that 2016 national championship. Probably not your favorite memory, I understand, but you guys still did really, really well against an amazing team to take it to penalties. It was unfortunately a loss in penalties, but still it had to be pretty special to play in an NCAA final. Not a whole lot of people, no matter how good they are, get to say they've played in a final like that. What was it like those 4 years with Wake, and then most specifically in the NCAA final?
Yeah, no, I think Wake was the best decision I ever made in my life, even more so than being at SAC and being at San Antonio. I grew as an individual. I learned more with the coaches there than I had for any other coach. I mean, obviously, I spent more time with them than my professional career, but I just absorbed things like a sponge, and I had so many players that they still play pro that I played with in college. Mentors. It was much like SAC with the community aspect. We did a lot of community outreach stuff, and I was a leader for that actually for our team. And then just our fans were amazing. So that was something that I was used to, and being at SAC, it was just like a amplified version of that. But yeah, going to the Final Four or the national championship where I got to play against Drew Skundrich and I got to play against my teammate Sam Werner. That was actually, so you say it's like, oh, maybe not the best memory. For me, it's actually, I think, the most pivotal moment in my life. And the reason I say that is because I took a PK that could have won the national championship. I was a number 5 PK taker for Wake. I had never missed a PK for Wake. That's why I was in that position, right? I was good at PKs. So I took a PK. The keeper read it. He saved it. And that was, I probably didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I'll be honest. I probably didn't sleep for 2 weeks. Getting through that finals week and all that stuff, and then graduating, that was the last kick of the ball for me for college sports. And it's a huge moment, but I think it was a big moment that defined me as a person, because I could have rolled over. I could have quit. I was definitely the lowest of low. I probably was in my like confidence and career, in regards to soccer. So, I could have rolled over. I could have quit, like I said, but I decided, I'm like, no, screw that. I'm going to sack up. I know I'm better than that. I'm not going to let one shot define my ability and who I am. And I think is a big reason of why I was able to go pro, because the next 5 months after that, I was on trials. I was sleeping in the car. I was doing this, doing that, trying to make a team, and I didn't. But because I had that mindset of no, like, screw it, I'm going to prove people wrong. That ultimately gave me that opportunity that I got at SAC. And I think that if I scored it, I would have been on top of the world, right? I would have been on top of the world. I thought I was the best. Maybe my head would have got too big for myself, but that wasn't the way the cards felt and fell. And I'm grateful for that still today. It was at face value. It's terrible, a terrible thing. I know people are like, are you the guy that missed a PK? I'm like, yeah, let's take a PK now. I'll show you that I won't miss it. I'll tell you that. So, and going to SAC, we played Monarchs in the first playoff game. I don't know if you know this. And we upset them. And I took the very first PK. And I don't know if you know, I scored it, but I hit that PK as hard as I possibly could. And I roofed it right in the middle of the goal. And I remember Paul Buckle, I came off the foot. He goes, mate, you scared the crap out of me. And I was like, that moment right there, I had just redeemed myself. I had proven that I'm over it, right? It's all in your head about PKs. PKs aren't an easy thing. Pirlo misses PKs. They're the best players in the world miss PKs. It's all mental. So going into that moment was huge for me, and I learned a lot from it.
That's really cool. That says a lot about your character, Hayden. That's really, really good, man. Because like you said, you could have easily rolled over and just like, man, I can't believe this happened. But you turned a negative into a positive. It says a lot about your character.
And that's why we love you. You are tough as nails, mister. And I think I clearly remember that PK because you did put it down the middle. And I think we're all like going, what if the keeper didn't dive? Oh,
he wasn't saving it. I to be honest, this is what I did. I aimed for his head and shot it as hard as I could. And I was like, save this. Like that's literally what I thought. Save this, and yeah, it went in. So that's all that matters, right?
That's right.
He wasn't diving. He was just trying to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, nobody wants to fuss with your thighs when you put the power behind it, really, at the end of the day. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at those situations, and a good message, right? So any soccer player out there, if you miss a penalty kick, even if it's not a final, but if it's just a regular game or just a tournament, a round of 16 or whatever, you got to look at it on that note, because eventually someone has to be that person, right? It's like
Right.
you can't not miss, and it's impossible, right? You can go 30, 40 shots and you got to keep going until someone misses or your shot gets blocked. And it's good. It's good, right? To make a bad situation into something really good, and it really helped you out in your personal life as well. So really good stuff there. Well, last thing before we let you go enjoy that basketball game, is there anything you want to say to like all the Republic fans and even to some of your former teammates that you're really close to?
I wouldn't say anything in particular, but just good luck in the 2021 season and campaign, and I'm rooting you all on, and I'm excited to see what the season has in store for you all. It's going to be an interesting one with a new format, and I really do think from what the club, Todd Donovan and Mark Briggs, player personnel wise, I'm definitely raising my eyebrows. I'm interested to see how the team plays and the results they're going to get week in and week out. So yeah, I would say that good luck. I wish I was still a part of the club in some sort of way, but I'm definitely, supporting and cheering them on from afar. So that's what I would say.
Let's get you on Jeopardy. We need one more person for seriously, in the next couple of weeks.
I remember seeing Jeremy on it, and I was like, I think y'all invited me, and I couldn't do it that one time, but I was like, I would love to do that. If you can get Jeremy on it again, I want to play it, please.
Well,
my God.
You're going to go up against Elliot Horde and Jane Walker, superfan Jane Walker.
Yeah.
You're in. You rank, maybe we'll bring Jeremy back, right? So if you can knock anybody off, that'll be fun. We should do that. And then we'll have a losers category too. So if you lose, we'll bring Jeremy back.
Is it all Sac Republic trivia?
Pretty much. There'll be some.
Sweet.
I usually design the questions, that kind of thing. Yeah, and so, it's not that I take bribes or anything like that. Michael.
No, I got you. Okay.
Nothing like that. But
I'll make sure I do some research before.
And you just never know what the question is going to be like or who the category. We had one category that was James Kiffey.
Oh, nice. Kiffey, what a guy.
Yeah, that was a whole category.
Speaking of Kiffey, he was the first. He gave me my first goal. He assisted my first goal ever for Sac Republic, actually.
Yeah. Kiffey's done a lot of that. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I may have to put that one down. I actually have an Adam. I think Adam Moffat might end up being a category. So start thinking about Adam Moffat information. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Jeremy Hall.
Do you know Adam Moffat category? You ready for this one? I know we're probably getting off, but I'll never forget this either. I should have put it in one of my moments. I passed the pass to him that he got hurt when he decided to retire, and I played the ball in front of him like too far, and he ended up going to a tackle that he probably shouldn't have gone into. And as a kid that looks up to him, I was like, holy crap, like, did I just get him hurt? And I talked to him about it. He didn't see it that way at all, but I felt that it was that way. I was like, oh my God, like, I put him into space. He's a little older. Like, he's not Shannon Gomez where he's going to get onto it. But then he ends up going to a tackle where he goes to crush this guy, and he ends up like tweaking his groin or something, and then ultimately retires. And I'm like, was that literally the last play? Like, I can't believe that. That guy's a legend. So I'll never forget that. But he tells me to this day, he's like, no, that's not your fault. No, it was bound to happen. I was like, okay. So there's another fun fact. I made the last pass to Adam Moffat.
Boy, you can be your own category, dude. I'm serious. We could also have a Hayden Partain category when you're not on Jeopardy. That's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we got our third contestant. Cool. All right.
Love it. We will find time. So we want to thank you. And I know Michael and Luis will say thank you as well. We really appreciate you being on. I know you already said some final words to some other folks and everything like that. And we all follow each other on social media. So thank you for keeping up on your social media. And, you know, we'll stay in touch that way. Michael, Luis?
Yeah, most definitely. We really appreciate you taking time, especially with the game on and all that. I know I'm trying to keep eyes and stuff and all that good stuff. But yeah, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. And this is cool. This is cool that y'all do this. So I appreciate y'all doing this for a great club. Especially, I didn't mean to cut you off, Luis, but especially for a club that has a place in my heart still.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, thank you. And next time, I'll make sure that I don't schedule an interview at the same time that the game is going on. Although I tend to do that with Michael and Sharon, as they already know with their teams, so unintentionally.
No,
I need to start looking at.
It's not a problem. I mean, the fact that Baylor made it, I couldn't have predicted that when we scheduled this, so it's not a big deal.
Oh. Awesome. Well, yeah, again, thank you so much for being on. And, you know, hopefully we can have you back on after Jeopardy as well. And if you keep moving on Jeopardy, then we'll definitely bring Jeremy back as well.
Cool. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Hayden. Have a good night.
Yeah, y'all too. Thanks for having me.
Good night, Hayden.
Good luck with everything. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Sounds good.
All right.
Say hi to Maddie.
Thanks.
I will.
What a guy.
Oh, man, that was so much fun. What good memories. He has a memory box, right? You know, he remembers everything.
Well, you could tell he really enjoyed his time here.
Yeah, you could really tell that. I agree.
There's no sugarcoating it. He's really enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, when this podcast gets posted, of course, we usually post them once a week, as you all know. It's going to be about almost 2 weeks for that game again on April 24th. Republic FC versus Monarchs. First friendly that is actually open to people. Unfortunately, not to everyone. 2,300 fans. Game is going to be at noon, so might be a little warm at that time. But we're really looking forward to that. And this week, as of this recording, actually, we should know who actually gets to attend of all the members, of course, right? Because they're going to start with the people that actually have been there since 2014, like Sharon has, renewing her season ticket each season. Had I known that, I would have kept my season ticket last season, but oh well, I'm 2021 now. But if you haven't signed up for either the full season ticket or the half season ticket, recommend that all of you listening sign up, because there's a good likelihood that you're going to need to be some sort of season ticket holder to actually be able to attend games, at least the first couple of them. So if you want to attend, be sure to do that. I was told that in the event that you can't attend the first game, the friendly game, they're actually going to start with the newer members in the second or third game. So that way everyone gets a chance to actually attend a game in one of the first couple games. So don't think because you're not in Sharon's position, you won't be able to attend a game even as a member, because that's what I was told. And so they want to make sure that any member can actually still go.
Yeah, good to know. That's good to know, Luis. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, perfect.
So, yep. Other than that, be on the lookout. Our next episode is actually going to be with someone in the local soccer community, someone who is actually running a youth soccer organization in Sacramento. So be on the lookout for that one. Should be really interesting. So you all know more information on some of our local organizations around town. And if you want to send your kids to try out for those teams, then go send them, because we are going to be back to normal in like a couple of months. I'm hopeful, right? Things are looking good. I think by August, if you want to go play. It'll all be safe. So, but of course, get vaccinated. That's our message here. Go get it.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, any last parting words, Sharon, Michael?
It was a great interview. I'm so glad we got Hayden on. I feel like we learned a lot about him. It was really good, and it was good to hear from somebody who just enjoyed his time in Sacramento so much. It makes you really happy to be a supporter of a team that really the players understand this community, this city, this team. It was just awesome to hear that he gets it, even coming from Texas to Sacramento. He understands what we're looking for here. You could tell that he loves this team as much as we do.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And it's interesting. Every player that we've talked to so far, they've created bonds while being here in Sacramento. They're lifelong bonds. It doesn't matter if it's with a fan or with another teammate or a personnel. Sacramento is where it's at. So we're gonna get MLS. We're gonna keep trying. It's not gonna stop, because it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be our way. We've talked about this before. Sacramento always does it Sacramento's way. We're not a cookie cutter. We're us.
Not at all.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. Anyhow, that's my last words. And I can't wait to have a Sunday brunch barbecue outside. I mean, like, we're a gnat's eyelash away from me being able to like do that. So yay.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I don't know if Michael's gotten his vaccine or if he has that scheduled out, but we'll make it happen July, August, and we can make it happen during a game, during a July, August game.
Appointment is set.
Awesome.
Appointment is set.
Cool. Nice. We're gonna have that. We're also gonna be recording that, by the way, as we keep talking to, right? We're gonna actually do like a live podcast recording for the very first time, because I've never actually recorded a podcast with more people than on my podcast, so I'm excited for that. So Excellent. It'll be really cool.
What? Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Well, one last reminder, if you guys aren't following us on social media, then please give us a follow. I've been saying it every single episode, and sorry for those of you who keep hearing this, but if any of our listeners haven't watched our Republic Jeopardies, they happen on our social media, so go check it out. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @StateRepublic12. And as you all know, Hayden Partain is our third guest of Republic Jeopardy. So join him. We're going to be defending champion Elliot Horde, and also Republic superfan Jane as well. So it's going to be really interesting, and we're really looking forward to that. And we might already have a date as of this recording, so be on the lookout for that on our social media, because we'll actually let you guys know ahead of time, so you can prepare for that and actually be able to attend it live and leave your comments and whatnot. Cool. Well, thank you so much to everyone for listening to us tonight, and also to everyone who has watched this video on YouTube. Thank you as well. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time here on State of the Republic podcast.
Good night, Sacramento.
Good night, Sacramento. Goodbye. See you next time.